convey with Mr. Carter this morning. Good morning, sir.
Reverend, good morning to you, sir.
I trust that you and the family are well?
Yes, sir, we're doing fine. Walk with me. We've had quite a rough winter. We've had a lot of sickness in the family, but as of today, a bright, sunshiny day, everybody is doing well.
Well, the dear Lord has blessed us with a beautiful one indeed.
Yes, he has. And what brings you here today, sir?
A matter of most compelling nature, I must share with you. It has come to my attention by way of the latest issue of the Gazette that the state legislature has passed a law thereby allowing individual landowners such as yourself to free their slaves. For years, this has not been allowed, but in their wisdom, they believe that the time has come to allow people in positions such as yours to free their slaves.
I have been thinking about this, Reverend, and I need your guidance. What do you think? What does the Bible say? What is the right thing to do? That's what I want you to know.
Well, my counsel to you as your minister and as a man of the cloth, no man should own another man. This has been through the ages to ancient times where there's been slavery, and we're still fighting with it today. But truthfully, I realize other factors are at play, but for the human spirit, no man should own another man.
Thank you for that. I have read that, and I have prayed about that, and I have dealt with that over and over. And I'm glad to hear it coming from you, Reverend. I respect your opinion on this. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome, sir. I'll be happy to cover more details with you. It's possible to be done by will, if you prefer to do it that way. You could prepare a document. You could prepare a deed of gift.
Okay.
And there are witnesses required, and once executed in front of the clerk at the courthouse, it's duly recorded, and your wishes would be fulfilled.
Okay. This gives me a lot to think about. A lot of things that are going over in my mind and my heart. But this definitely now, since it is a legal act, gives me something that I can really think about and how I should accomplish what is provided in the act.
Well, I pray that you will find solitude in this, and that the dear Lord will direct you as to what to do and when to do it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Excellent.
Come in.
Robert Carter III was the son of Robert Carter II of Nomini Hall in Westmoreland County, Virginia, and grandson of Robert King Carter in Lancaster County, Virginia. With generational wealth and wise business practices, by 1791, Robert Carter III of Nomini Hall owned an estimated 65,000 acres of property and more than 450 enslaved people, making him one of the largest landowners and enslavers in Virginia. By conscience and religious morals, along with economic difficulties caused by a depression in the tobacco industry that lasted throughout the Revolution, and with other financial burdens, Robert Carter III signed the final draft of his deed of gift on August 1, 1791. The names of 452 slaves enslaved by Carter were recorded on an attachment to the deed of gift. The deed included instructions for a gradual manumission of his enslaved people, and those over 45 years of age were to receive their freedom first.
I, Robert Carter of Nomini Hall in the county of Westmoreland in the Commonwealth of Virginia, am possessed as of my absolute property of, in, and to my Negroes and Maltose slaves, and whereas I have for some time past been convinced that is to retain them in slavery in the contrary to the true principles of religion and justice, and therefore it is my duty to manumit them if it could be accomplished without infringement of the laws of my country and without being of a disturbance to my neighbors and the community at large, and whereas the General Assembly of the Commonwealth of Virginia did in the year 1782 enact a law entitled an Act to authorize the manumission of slaves, now be it remembered that I, the said Robert Carter, do under the said act for myself, my heirs, my ancestors, and my administrators emancipate from slavery all of such my slaves enumerated in the attached schedule August the 1st, 1791. Done.
At the age of 64, Robert Carter III of Nomini Hall recorded the great deed of gift on September 5, 1791, in the Northumberland, Virginia District Court, a superior court that served Westmoreland and adjacent counties. Carter's daybook does not mention his intent or plans. The September 5, 1791 entry makes no mention of his filing his deed of gift, which eventually freed over 500 of his enslaved people and their descendants to the ranks of Virginia's free population in accordance with the 1782 Act authorizing the manumission of slaves. Although research proves that lesser gentry were manumitting their slaves on a smaller scale, Carter's manumission is the largest known release from enslaved status to have taken place in the United States prior to 1862. As the legal process for manumitting the first class of people from Nomini Hall dragged on into February 1792, several of the candidates were given permission to bargain for themselves during the present year, essentially taking up their lives as free people before the final paperwork was completed. Carter warned the estate managers that the people should be entered with 2 names, each of which additional names will be noted in the instrument of emancipation, which is to be recorded in Westmoreland County Court. Advise them accordingly. By January 2, 1792, when the first group of enslaved people were to be legally manumitted, Carter owned 16 named farms and plantations in 5 Virginia counties, and the Nomini Hall slave community had been in existence for at least 70 years.
Thomas, I'm excited about today to have you come and visit me. I really want to know what has happened to some of the slaves that are manumissioned a couple of years ago.
Well, good morning, Counselor. I'm pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me into your house, and also thank you for educating me. Because of you, I learned to read and write from Philip Vickers Fithian, who was the tutor to your children, and I'm now in the position to be able to read and tell you about those people that you manumitted a few years ago.
Good.
And so I've got a list here that I put together, put pen to paper, and I'll just go through some of the names and we can reminisce about some of these individuals.
Please do.
Sure. There's Barbara Newman. Born in 1774, she was the daughter of Joan Gumby, and she was the mother of James and resided at Old Ordinary in Westmoreland County. And she was given leave to bargain for her time in February 1, 1792.
Yes, I remember her very well. She was a very, very hard-working lady, hard-working, and good with the children.
Yeah, that's right, Counselor.
Very proud.
She was. Yes, and let's see, the next person we have is Polly Wells. Sure you remember her well as well. She was the daughter of Solomon Dixon, and she resided at Taurus, which was also in Westmoreland County. And she was also given leave to bargain for her time, which was very important prior to the Manumission for them to be able to find work for themselves.
Yes, Polly. Another hard-working lady. Hard-working lady.
Yes. And then there's Judith Brutus. She was often referred to as Little Judith. She was the daughter of Sarah Brutus and Sam Brutus, and she was the mother of Lucy and Sam Jones. She formerly lived at Scorpio, which is in Frederick County, a little bit north of here. And she also received her manumission on May 29, 1792.
And what is she doing in that?
Well, she is technically a spinster. She's a homemaker in her household, and her husband is an oysterman, as a lot of people down here on the water are.
Continued in the hard work. Very proud.
That's right, Counselor. Next we have Abby Gumby, and she was born in 1773. She formerly lived on Gemini Plantation, also in Westmoreland County, and she received her manumission on May 29, 1792, and she was actually there in attendance.
I can see her face now. She was there along with some others, and I can just see the expression of the smiles.
Yes.
Oh, it did my heart so good to see those people smiling, especially with her.
Yes.
She was a very nice and very, very, very wonderful person.
Right.
I'm glad to see that she's doing well.
Yes, and you wanted to make sure as many of those that you manumitted were able to actually be there in attendance.
Yes.
And so I know she appreciated it very much.
What a great day for them.
Yes, it was. And then we've got Sarah Timothy Tosspot. Very interesting name. She was born in 1772, the daughter of William Dixon and the mother of Patty. She was formerly from Gemini Plantation and also resided at Capricorn, which is up in Frederick County. And she actually received her manumission on April 24, 1792, also in the springtime.
Yes. Could you still cook those turnip greens
Yes.
like she used to be able to?
I drop by her place every now and then, and they have them ready for me.
Oh, if I just had a bowl of it with a nice big chunk of that old ham meat into it.
Yes.
Oh, goodness, I would relish that thought of just being able to enjoy that
Yes,
again.
she smokes the ham hocks and puts it right amongst the greens, so it's delicious. And let's see now, Counselor, we also have Charlotte Newman. She was also referred to as Charlotte. Born in 1773, the daughter of Rachel, and she was the mother of Louisa. She went from Taurus to Capricorn before her manumission, also in May 29, 1792.
I remember her too. I think she was extremely a good seamstress.
That's right. And
She
in
could
fact,
really
she's still
do.
doing that.
In fact, I had her brought up to do some work for me. In fact, possibly she did some of the sewing on my coat that I'm wearing.
Yeah, she could do very fine work,
She
very
could.
fine needlework.
Very
She was
good.
very skilled that way.
Mm.
And then there's Dinah Richards and Aggie Robinson. They were daughters of Pat Gaskins, and also they lived with Lida and Pat Gaskins. That's a very popular name that some of your former enslaved population took on, because of course you wanted them all to have last names. And I know that's been very important for them in order to keep track of their holdings, because a lot of them own property now, and to pass it
Yes.
down to future generations.
Yes, and sing. Oh, I can remember some of the hymns that girl could sing a part into. An alto voice.
Yes,
Beautiful, beautiful. I can hear in the distance singing now.
yes. And we still meet under the arbor for Sunday services, and her voice is, as beautiful as the birds.
Yes, and that is one of the things that I really enjoyed, because I love to play the instruments that, in my home, and my children, of course, with Philip Fithian, they enjoyed music, and of course the people out in the courtyard sometimes would join in, and her voice was one that I can still plainly hear.
Exactly. You can pick it right out. Then there is Primus Johnson and Jeremiah Johnson. both brothers, and they lived in Forest Plantation in Westmoreland County. Primus was one of three men who reportedly was instrumental in saving Mary Johnson from an attack, and he was lauded for that. He was authorized to bargain for his own time as well, and he was manumitted a little bit later in the summertime in August 4, 1792. And Jeremiah was also manumitted at the same time, same place.
Strong young men.
Yes.
I can see those guys right now in the muscles that in the biceps and the arms that they had. I often wish that my physique was as good as those boys were. I admired them for that.
Yes. Well, thank you very much for that. I'll let them know. Samson Robinson, he was the son of Molly, born in 1770, and the husband of Rose Harris, father of Elijah, Anna, and also Winnie. Resided at Bull Run in 1774. Your properties were widespread.
Yes, sir.
You know, so,
Yes.
you know, I think your grandfather was the largest landholder in
Yes.
Virginia, if
Yes.
I'm correct at that. And he was manumitted in May 29, 1792. And he was present there,
Okay.
just like Aga we spoke about earlier.
Okay.
So he was able to make it.
All right, what is he doing now?
He is a waterman, so
Okay.
he operates ferries that go
Okay.
across from one part of the Northern Neck to another part of the Northern Neck. So,
Right.
you know, it's a very pleasant job at times, but it also could be hairy,
Yeah.
you know, if the winds, you know, pick
Sure,
up.
it takes talent.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Got to keep the boat ship shape, you know. So he's also skilled in caulking skills, and some of his relatives have actually gone up to Baltimore to be caulkers
Okay.
for some of the shipyards up there.
I attempted that one time to guide one of my ferries. Needless I say, I attempted.
Sounds good, counselor. Anthony Harris. He was born in 1769. He was the son of Rachel and George. I'm sure you remember them.
Yes.
He resided at Bull Run, which is up in Loudoun County.
Right.
Close to Oatlands, too. There's another property up there that you acquired. And he and Anthony and Joe Reed negotiated with one of your agents for a tenement. So what I recall was you wanted to make sure that everyone you manumitted was able to, first of all, have an occupation, but
Right.
also to acquire a place to live,
Yes.
and maybe first starting out as tenants, but as we now see, a lot even own their own land.
Yes. And they have done well. He has done very well. I was going over my books. In fact,
Yes.
that name pops out. I was going over my books just a few months ago, and I see where his crops have really, he has learned how to raise some valuable crops. His money is increasing. So evidently he's doing extremely well in the field of agriculture.
Yes, and you were a pioneer in agriculture because you didn't deplete your soil like other fellow farmers did in terms of tobacco use. You converted to wheat, you rotated your fields,
Yes.
and they have picked up some of the same.
Yeah, and that is important because I remember him now, clearly. He was so interested in what we were doing. He was so interested in the crop rotation. He was interested in fertilization using animal manure.
Yes.
And he was also very intelligent. In fact, he helped me in selection of some of the seeds that I was going to use in some of my fields. So I'm glad to hear that.
Yes, so
Glad
he's
to see
doing
him do
very
that.
well these days. Then, of course, there's George Cooper. He was born in 1752, the husband of Sarah Cooper. And he resided at Nomini Hall, which is your principal estate.
Yes.
And also from where I'm from, and all my people are from Nomini Hall as well.
Yes.
You know, so I know him very well. He built a tobacco house on Metcalf's Tract number 3, if you remember, in 1786, and assisted in repairs to Double Mill in 1786. He was part of a crew working under the joiner William Anderson on Moratico Meeting House, in 1788. So he had extensive carpentry skills, which he has put to good use now. He still works as a carpenter for many people in this area and has his own carpenter shop.
He was so talented that I had many requests from the other owners of the plantations around in the northern neck. If I had 5 of him, I would have been blessed, but I was more blessed by just having him because he truly was a craftsman.
Yes, and it's great that he has stayed, in this community,
Yes.
and his skills, are able to be enjoyed by many different people here. Let's see, we also have William Dixon, born in 1752, husband of Prue Dixon, and the father of Sarah Timothy Tosspot. That's a name that we've heard before. Now, our records describe him as a mariner or sailor on some of your vessels,
Yes.
which probably plied the waters, maybe down to Norfolk. Other places may be Port Comfort. He served on the sloop Mayflower and Macadac, and the sloop Atwell in 1775, before the war. He assisted in transporting people back and forth from your Shenandoah tract in 1787. So he was a very experienced mariner, and he still is involved in that trade.
Yeah.
In fact, training younger individuals to continue on.
Oh, I'm proud of that. He was highly talented. I've been on some of my boats so many times when he was a capable pilot. I always felt at ease when I saw him at the wheel. I knew exactly where he was going. The Potomac River was full of those oyster shoals, and he
Yes.
could go right around those things
Yes.
just like it wasn't nothing.
It's great to
And
have
I'm
a
glad to
great
hear that
habit.
he's teaching others.
Yes, it's good to have those skills passed on.
Yes, it is.
Which is what
Extremely.
you tried to emphasize, before the Manumission, when you
Yes.
would talk to individuals you had identified,
Right.
for this first Manumission, that you wanted them to have a trade that could be passed on, so that future generations would also be self-sufficient.
Oh, he deserves a lot of credit. I'm proud of that man.
That's right, that's right. Let's see, we have also Joseph Reed. He was born in 1750. He's the husband of Jenny Reed,
Okay.
and the uncle of Polly Reed. And they resided a little bit north of here, also in Bull Run in Loudoun County.
Yes.
He resided at Cancer in Prince William as well. And he was manumitted April 24, 1792.
Good to hear. I don't really recognize the name there, but I'm very proud of it to hear.
Yes.
Right.
He was on one of your far-flung operations
Yes.
a ways from here. Probably the individuals at Nomini Hall you saw every day,
Yes.
pop up into your mind. But I can tell you, he's doing very well for himself
Good.
as a farmer
Good.
up north. Thomas Walker. It's the name of a bishop that I've heard about as well, but maybe it's just a coincidence. He was born in 1749, husband of Catherine Walker, very religious man. He was authorized to bargain for his own time. I believe he's preaching now.
That's interesting. I myself have really, over the years, have tried to develop my religious beliefs, and I think that is very important. And it's extremely proud of me to hear that there's a young man that has gone on to be a minister to spread the gospel.
Yes, it goes along with the woman we spoke about earlier who sings, who lives a
Yes.
joyful noise to the Lord, as we're instructed to in the Bible.
Yes.
Yes. Thomas Johnson, born 1747, a husband of Jenny Johnson, and resided at Nomini Hall, so
Yes.
you know him very
Oh,
well.
yes, very well.
He tended to the livestock, so a farmer dealing with animal husbandry, well trained. He also was rewarded for capturing 2 escaped criminals. So if you had manumitted him, he would have been emancipated by the state of Virginia for sure, for the great work that he did.
And I know how he was able to capture a couple of criminals because we had old Red Bull that was got to be pretty mean. And I never will forget it. He had broken through the fence one day, and he went out there and he wrestled that bull to the ground by hand.
Wow.
And I was just amazed that a man could be able to handle a 2,000-pound animal, so I know two men couldn't have had a chance to get away from it.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And he's great for all the different people who own livestock,
Yes.
because he's sort of a doctor, you know.
Yes.
If they've got animal distemper or whatever, he can resolve it for them. So, you know, and that's a skill he's also passing down, I understand. Let's see, we've got Nathaniel Canardi, also referred to as Nat, born in 1746. He was pressed into government service for 4 days in June 1781. So, as we referred to him, he is a patriot. And you had other patriots who actually served in the service. And, you know, some also consider that a lot of the individuals that you oversaw, because they contributed to the war effort in terms of supplying food and supplies to our different soldiers fighting, you know, and to the animals that helped, you know, in the effort as well, that maybe they all can be considered patriots. But for him, he was actually, Nathaniel Canardi was actually pressed into military service. So we're very proud of him.
Yeah, that's interesting. And of course, he was a very talented wagoner. He knew how to handle those horses.
That's true. Yes, yes. Let's see, we've got Sarah Brutus, also known as Sarah Debo, born in 1747. She was the mother of Betty Brutus, Judy Brutus, Sally Brutus. And she resided at Coles Point, which is not far from Nomini, on the other side of the river.
That's it.
Yes, exactly. Near King Copsico Point, I think, as well, on the other edge. She went from Coles Point to Shenandoah Tract in April 1787, just before your certificate of manumission, giving her freedom on May 29, 1792.
Good to hear that. It seemed like I could remember her. She was quite a rascal. I think I plainly can remember her of some of the tricks that she'd pull on the other children.
Yes.
And enjoyed her.
Yes. She brought a lot of frivolity to our different brethren. And the 29th person, which is the last person that you manumitted in the first tranche of manumissions, is Mary Harrison, sometimes referred to as Polly Harrison. And she's the daughter of Mary, and she lived at Nomini Hall.
Yes.
And she was the mother of a great number of children: Presley, Henry Harrison, Titus Harrison, George, James, Betty, Polly, and Sally. And I can tell you that all of these children, you know, have grown up into great adults, and they're carrying on the fine Harrison tradition of being both farmers and watermen.
I remember her as a great discipline.
Yes.
If those children stepped 1 inch out of line, she was right on them. I'm telling you what,
Yes.
that lady had that family, and of course it's been paid off because all of those children have turned out to be fine people.
Yes, yes, they have. And I just want to say personally that I appreciate that I have learned to read and write, and I have actually taught my children that great skill, which is holding them instead, because, you know, as farmers, we need to keep track of all our, oh, look who we have here. Oh, a little visitor.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
my little dog.
Oh, yes. Delightful. Yes. So, you know, we're able to care for ourselves and to be gainfully employed and to be of service and live in harmony here in the northern neck of Virginia. So we want to say thank you on behalf of all of us
Well,
for the
Thomas,
great manumission.
I'm extremely proud of you, and I can't wait for you to come back someday and tell me more of what the folks have turned out to be.
Yes, I will enjoy doing that.
And thank you, Thomas, and you have a good day.
Yes, thank you, Counselor.
You're welcome.